Welcome to CosmoFactory, a podcast by Cosmoprof Worldwide Bologna, where we explore the entire cosmetics, personal care, and fragrance industry supply chain. I'm your host, Deanna Utrusky, and here at CosmoFactory, we look beyond the trends to discover the ideas, initiatives, and innovations that are truly advancing beauty. Let's get started. On this episode, we're talking about Nordic beauty, about cultural awareness, local and regional beauty brands, and the global beauty economy. Joining me today on the CosmoFactory podcast is Johanna Rönkkö, founder of a brand called NOBE and CEO at Nordic Beauty Inc. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here. It's a very exciting week.
Yeah, indeed. So I was thinking about, global beauty trends. And I would say that of all the regional or maybe country-specific beauty movements, I'm going to say that Korean beauty, right, K-beauty, is the most well-branded, if we can use that expression. But I would call you an expert in a different region, and that's Nordic beauty. So I'm hoping you can start us off by talking about the characteristics of a Nordic beauty brand. What is Nordic beauty? What makes it distinctive?
So I think... Nordic is the Nordic beauties. 10 years ago, for example, there were not that many Nordic beauty brands, they have always been, but now it seems that like the cosmetics is coming more and more bigger. It's actually the whole ecosystem of Nordic cosmetics and Nordic beauty is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But what are the values behind the Nordic beauty? It's more like we are like in the Nordics. When we talk about Nordics, we talk about Sweden, Denmark, Iceland, Norway, Finland. Sometimes we always calculate the Baltics, also to the Nordics region, so Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania. But anyway, so the northern part of Europe. And there I think we all have we share the same values when it comes to sustainability and clean ingredients and clean beauty, and also we all love to go to forest. We're really quite close to the nature. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of forest. Only Finland has 150,000 lakes, and you can almost drink the water from the lake. Yeah. It's so clean. So all that clean water, and also the whole how should I say it, equality, all these type of things, and it's super important in the Nordics. And
if I may, it sounds like it has a lot to do with the environmental situations or conditions, but also something ethical as well.
Yes, I think we're really I think when we put all those values together, and then really good innovations that we have in the Nordics, we are really also really engineer countries. Yes. Nokia came from Finland, and we are full of engineers and researchers in the Nordics. So when you put all that technology, this innovation, but at the same time all those good values together, you create amazing products and amazing brands. Mm-hmm. So I think that the world will hear a lot more about the Nordic beauty brands in the future.
And let's go ahead and put your expertise into context. Talk about your role in the beauty industry and the two companies you're working with, the brand and the larger business.
Yeah, so I think I started 10 years ago. I come from completely different industry. I was in the IT industry before for Fujitsu Siemens, so Japanese German joint venture. So it was quite different world. But then when I started, we've been bringing to the Nordics. Of course, until now, it's been super important to us to find the best brands in their own categories, bring the best beauty brands from the world to the Nordics.
Okay. And this is the company called Nordic Beauty Inc. You're importing brands to the region.
And making them super successful.
and help me think about how you've been selecting those brands. What makes someone a good fit for the Nordic market?
It's also changed a lot. So when we started, we were looking for internet, we were looking for some social media and all, but then we were of course following what big retailers like Sephora or Ulta, what's happening in US. Mm-hmm. We were looking at a lot what's happening in US. That was always following the US market. now it's quite changed. Now we look a lot at what's happening in Korea, and we also look a lot what's happening in Japan and Asia, Australia, and so it's gone really global. Kind of, there's a lot of leaders.
Sure.
Everyone is a leader in some ways. Every region, I would say there's a lot of, and of course, and the market has gotten a lot faster also. So you actually checking TikTok like daily, like what is hot today? Like it was 10 years ago that what was hot like last year, it might come to Finland, then maybe the Nordic people will accept it like after 1 year. Now it's like it's in TikTok today, they accept it tonight. So
Yes.
so it's much faster, but super interesting, super exciting, and growing industry, and but I also feel that the beauty brings the whole world together, and it's quite nice.
Yeah, it's quite interesting to hear you talk about the pace of adoption speeding up, or the pace of consumer interest in various brands, because it does have to do with what's happening in other markets. But I'm also imagining that there's something particular about the Nordic beauty consumer. Am I wrong? We were initially we mentioned that it's a very environmentally conscious region. Perhaps we can say a fairly ethical region. Do those values impact what sorts of brands you're seeing an interest in, what folks are buying, or is it more about global beauty trends?
No, it's definitely like it's super important that equality, like positive feminism and all this kind of like equality and all this kind of messages are super important. That
Yes.
the brands have also really good ethics behind them. Also, then obviously vegan everywhere, cruelty free. All these topics are of course super important. But
And are you able to share any of the brands that Nordic Beauty Inc. works with?
yes, of course. So we've been picking up. We get a lot of friends,
Sure.
like probably 100 per week, to ask to come to our. And we would love to take them all, of course. It's really hard for me to say no, because there's so many amazing brands out there. But we always try to look for something unique, something super unique, and kind of the best brands in their own categories. And for example, we have Frank Body from Australia. We find that Frank Body is the best body care brand in the world, and it is. And then we have from Korea, we have Tony Moly, Huxley, which we find one hidden gem, which is like something everyone has to try. Huxley, by the way, it's amazing formulation. Also, we have Biocheo from New York, hair care. So, and there again, we have like Biocheo is kind of a superfood for hair. But yeah, a lot of brands across the world.
Excellent.
That we have been bringing so far.
And then you've gone ahead and developed your own brand as well as a result.
Yes. So now, of course, we love to bring, and the Nordics are, of course, all the Nordic and European men and ladies are super happy that we have brought all these amazing brands across the world to the to Europe. But of course, we always had a dream, almost since the beginning, that we
Sure.
would love to also make something amazing to the world from the Nordics, like with the best Nordic ingredients and with the best chemist and with the best packaging and best stories. So that's what we've been now doing last years, and now it's all out there and it's super exciting.
Yeah. And if someone isn't not yet familiar with the NOBE brand, what's in the portfolio? What's in the product line?
So NOBE is inspired by the Nordic nature. If you look at it, it's super beautiful. It has like it's gotten the inspiration from the Northern Lights. So every bottle is actually different color, and when you put them to your bathroom or on the shelf at the retailer, they make the colors of the Northern
Yes.
Lights. It's quite beautiful, and also in the packaging you have that. And we have 3 lines. It's kind of, we wanted to bring the clean, natural ingredients, but mix them with the Nordic innovation and Nordic innovative ingredients and so on. So we have 3 lines. We have Forest Elixir line, which is based in this. We talk about it more in a minute,
Yes.
probably, but based the forest microbial extract, which is something super innovating and super exciting. Then there is a cooling care line. in the Nordics we do all these crazy things. We roll in the snow and do ice swimming, and we actually feel that the cold is good for us, good for our skin, and it activates the skin. So the cooling care line is for that kind of debuffing and so on. And then we have the oat wonder line, and there oat has been like heritage, like our grandmas and grandpas in the Nordics. When there was a war, we actually put oat into our wounds. How do you say it? Wounds. Yeah. And the ladies, my grandma used to put oat on her face.
Yes.
And then we've been eating always like porridge, oat porridge. That's like the thing in the Nordics, like every morning. So it's really good inside for us, oat, but also it's a miracle ingredient also for the skin. It's really E vitamin rich. So anyway, that's then the oat wonder is the third line, but it's all inspired by the Northern heritage.
Yeah, that's lovely. As I keep asking you questions, you've mentioned the oats, and I know you have an interesting ingredient partnership regarding oats. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I don't know how many of you know, but Fazer is one of the biggest food producers or biggest bakeries in the Nordics. So they produce chocolate and bread and have a really big bakery. And they have started to also create now cosmetic ingredients as side streams from their food production.
Okay.
Which is of course super, super smart. And there we have found two amazing ingredients like this oat xylitol that we use in the cooling care line. It's cooling and hydrating and healing. And then we have the oat oil, which Fazer found this really innovative way to extract oil for cosmetics from the oat, and it's really E vitamin rich and a super ingredient.
No, that's excellent to think about not only the ingredient benefits, but regional sourcing. You're talking about upcycling from the food industry. It sounds very smart. You already used that word, but I think that's accurate.
Yeah. We are. And the products are. You have to. Yeah, we are at the Cosmo Proof here, so you have to come to the Hall 14 and try them out.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned the forest line within NOBE Beauty as well, and I believe there's a regional ingredient partnership that's informing that.
Yes, so that's something super innovative. So Ute Scientific, small ingredient company from the Nordics, have created together with the Helsinki and Tampere University from Finland this ingredient which has like 600 different forest microbees, the microbees from the forest.
Yes.
In it, it's really like forest microbial extract. That's how we call it. So it actually like nature in a nature.
Yes.
How should I say it?
No, I think it's very important because when we talk about microbiome skincare, there is a sector of that conversation that is very focused on what has happened or changed as people live in a much more built environment and are not spending as much time in the forest or in direct contact with nature. And I think this ingredient is working to bridge that gap that the built environment or urban life has created.
Yeah, it's been now really scientifically proven by that we are kind of too clean. Think about the COVID times. We were washing our hands with the alcohol gel, like killing all the good bacteria also. So our immunity goes away, and that people get sick. Then after COVID, people were super sick and super many skin problems, a lot of eczema and stuff like this. So it's now proven that actually we should have these good microbees, this good dirt, so to say,
Yes.
on our skin, because it's really actually strengthening our skin barrier, and it's really. They made this test. The Helsinki University, where it all actually started, was that they made this test. They put for the kids. They had two sandboxes.
Yes.
One sandbox with only sand, and the other sandbox was with this forest humus.
Okay.
And then after that, they took the test of the baby's poop or whatever, and their immunity system. They were healthier, and their skin was in a better shape. So it was really amazing. The kids who had been playing in this sandbox with the forest humus inside, and then that's all like started that there's a relation between nature and the autoimmunity diseases and all that. So it's quite interesting, and that's of course completely different story. They are even talking about medicine creation. I don't even know all what's happening there on that side.
Right, but it certainly has applications in industries outside of beauty as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super interesting and amazing results. And we see now we launched this forest line about a year ago. Actually, here at Cosmoproof, we had the first sneak preview last year, and now we hear these results that before and after that. I've had these red spots. I didn't know what it is, and I've been trying to eat antibiotic and whatever, and then in 1 week it was gone after using the fork. So it's really like I really do believe in this, and also, yeah.
It is always, I think, very reassuring that we, in the industry, we are very focused on clinical data, as we should be, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned the testing that Uta Scientific has done, but then to get anecdotal consumer feedback, I think, is often very rewarding, especially for brand owners. I can see it in your face, like you want to read that email. It's almost just as fulfilling as having created the product.
It's so fulfilling. I'm so happy. It makes me so happy to hear that. And of course, I'm also super happy about Uta Scientific, because they've been doing this work for many years, and now it's really like making many people. It's such a great solution for many people.
Yeah.
Also super thankful for them.
Of course. And so we're talking about brands coming out of the Nordic region. Now we've talked about ingredients coming out of the Nordic region, informing this Nordic beauty trend. And I know there are some other interesting companies maybe working adjacent to the beauty industry that it might be relevant to mention. Can you speak to what else you're seeing in the Nordic area, maybe in terms of...
Yeah, I think it's really amazing that, as I said 10 years ago, there were not that much. The industry wasn't that big in the Nordics. But now we have such amazing ecosystem. Like when you think about Sulapak, for example,
yes,
the most sustainable, ingredients to make packaging, or Revive, the beauty tech, the beauty AI,
yes,
one of the best companies in the world, I think, in this area, coming from Finland. Also, all these ingredient companies like Uta Scientific or Fazer and so on, plus all the brands and factories. There are a lot of amazing, really good beauty factories in Sweden and in Finland, and really conscious. Everything is really like really see through. You can go to the factory any given day. You just walk in, but remember to put also hat on, and you have to put the white clothes on and everything. But really, with really good quality and innovation, a lot of innovation.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that, because it is about innovation and about cultural standards, if you will, but you're also mentioning transparency throughout the industry that's developing in the Nordic region. I think that's very important.
What did I say? See-through.
I like see-through. I like it.
Yeah, that's the word. Part of my English. It's not the best, and I also sometimes make up these words.
I like it.
Oh dear.
No, it's very nice. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about sort of cultural awareness or cultural exchange. What has the response to Nordic beauty been? Is the global market ready for NOBE and these other innovations?
Yes, I think it was super. Like yesterday, we were so busy at the booth. It's more than last year. People have seen NOBE. They are super excited. I mean, really, we see the increase. But it's funny to see that, for example, what is Mexico? They are like, Nordic beauty is so much growing at the moment here. We are super interested in the Nordic or Middle East also. And there's different certain regions that are, and also I feel Germany is super excited about everything coming from the Nordics, and so it's growing. But then again, I feel that, for example, obviously Korea is at the moment really in the Korea boom and so on. So so it's kind of on different levels. Sure. But I think that's what's happening. Like. We see it also that's why what I was saying, that like for 10 years ago, for example, we thought that it's like 2 years takes that what was hot in US became hot here. So it takes always time. Now it's definitely faster.
Yes.
Because of social media, because of TikTok and everything, the word got out there earlier, and I think more and more people are. For example, yesterday we had Cosmoproof after party,
Yes.
and we had over 100 people at the Piazza Macchioro, and there was one of our distribution partners from Indonesia,
Okay.
and they said that the Nordic values and the female empowerment and all that you got there, like we so like look up to you guys, and we love everything what's coming there, and the Northern Lights and the happiest countries in the world, and da da da. So I was really like, wow. And hold on, Indonesia, how many people are living? 280 million people
Wow.
living in Indonesia. So like that, how much do I know about Indonesia? Really like that they know all that, and they were super that they are really eager on the Nordic brand. So it really depends. It's funny
Yes.
that, but all in all, I think the world has changed. That again, if we go 10 years ago, it was really the global players that were the biggest. I would say, I don't know exactly the numbers, but let's
Sure.
say 80% of the cosmetics were from the global players. And then K-beauty, we started to bring K-beauty to Nordics already 8 years ago. So Coco Star, Tony Moly, so on. And that time it was booming also, but then it kind of came down a bit. And many people were saying that it's gonna fade away. Like, no, it's there to stay.
Yeah.
Like K-beauties, they're so good what they're doing. There's more and more brands coming, and of course, not all the brands survive. That's always the story. But again, it's gonna stay to stay. So is J-beauty, the Japanese brands growing constantly, Australian brands, and as well as the Nordic brands. I'm looking forward to what's coming from the, South America and Africa, and like, these regions will create amazing brands, and this will be the future. That it's not only like global players that can survive.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting because it's about sharing, but it's also, I think there was a concern when we started moving into a real global economy and moving into the digital age that everything was going to really become very similar, that we were going to blur the lines between, countries and regions and identities and what have you. And what you're describing is almost the opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree completely that, global means like, okay, everyone's going to be the same. But no, it's completely opposite.
And we're all excited about it. We're excited about Nordic beauty. And we're excited about what's coming out of the countries in Africa. And we're excited. We're excited to see what Latin American brands are bringing. It's, it's the global beauty economy is a very thrilling place.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'm curious, is there anything else you think we should cover in terms of the Nordic beauty trends or the companies you're leading?
At the moment, no, but we are also, we have one more sneak preview here.
Oh, do tell.
Today. So we're also launching a new brand called Scandy, Scandinavian skin candy.
Nice.
But it's also like, we have created it for thinking about the Gen Z, that really, again, with really Nordic values, but also with really like the Gen Z attitude, positive feminism. Everyone can be exactly who they are, and you don't have to always smile in all the photos. You can also be sometimes angry and show your feelings and all the. But at the same time, we wanted to make something which is, of course, our values: cruelty-free, vegan, all that what the Gen Z likes, but also that there is no bad ingredients. That is really ingredients which are like sunflower oil and ingredients that are really for teenager skin, that really like giving hydration, glow, and maybe supporting the skin barrier, but not like anti-aging or anything like this. So really like trying to make the ingredients also to the Gen Z, and then a little thing because it's candy.
Yes.
So every product has a candy scent.
Ah, yes.
So there's different, so they smell so good. I could eat them all.
How many products are in that collection?
At the moment, 10.
Okay.
So we start with 10, and they are also mostly made in Finland, and then a few of the products, masks and pimple patches, are made in Korea because they do them the best.
Yes. Sure. Excellent. Well, that's very exciting. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes. So we are really excited, and we're going to have a big launch in Finland now this spring, but of course then launching country by country.
Yeah. I'm actually glad you mentioned that, the in-country launches. besides trade shows, I know that you and the NOBE brand and the brands you're representing show up at a lot of consumer events or in-store events. Can you talk about that and the importance of those sorts of activations?
Yeah, it's super important, and actually, when it comes to this global world, well, it's a bit unfair sometimes that we come from a country with 5 million people, and it's super hard to get to Instagram immediately to be like 100,000 followers. Even you are like the most popular brand
Sure.
in the country, it's still hard to get. And again, if you are a US brand or brand, you can immediately.
Sure.
It's much easier, and your English language, you do everything in English, so it's much easier to get attention. Instagram, TikTok, everything, and we have to do everything in Finnish in Finland, so it doesn't get that viral.
Right.
And it's only 5 million people, like half of New York.
Yeah.
So it's not easy to like jump from there and get successful, but thank God there is the social media and all that, so it's getting easier and easier, of course. But it's super important, exactly that's why all the influencer and together with the retailers, we're gonna have, for example, here related to the Scandy, we're gonna have the TikTok artists. We have this huge marketing around it that we invite all the TikTokers, YouTubers, and we have kind of concert with them with the TikTok artists, and then they can. And at the end, we also invite the consumers. But you need to really build the marketing.
Yes.
It's obviously super important for the brands, and especially, But it's yeah.
Yeah. It's just curious. I kind of wanted to hear that so I could, in my imagination, compare the B2B experience that you're having at a show like CosmoProf with that sort of B2C event experience that you're having.
Yeah, it's of course quite different, but then again, same message.
Yes.
And same, but a bit different type of activities.
Yes, but Nordic Beauty is still Nordic Beauty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and the values are always the same, and but it's I think also like now when we started Nordic Beauty Inc. as a distribution, now we have 2 own brands, but we have a kind of different team for the own brands, and then we have the other team, bigger team for the distributed brands, and it doesn't mean that many brands have asked us like, do you forget us? Like, no, like it just makes us stronger as a company, that we always love our distributed brands, so we are constantly looking for more exciting brands, so we always want to bring our customers the best innovations and look at the trends and so on. But then again, we have a team that's creating our own brand also, which makes us, I think, also, of course, stronger in that sense that we have we get better financial wise.
Sure.
It's of course better margins for us, and it's more what's the word, profitable business in that sense. Mm-hmm. So it makes us as a company much stronger. But then it also teaches us even more how to make every brand successful. We learn a lot, and we see every brand, the uniqueness in every brand, and so on. So it's really like asset to our company also to have also own brands.
Absolutely. I hear that both sides of the company, you're learning from one another and actually supporting one another. You can grow together more effectively.
Yes, 100%. So it's now, we're so busy. Our stand, everyone is there. Like there's been every retailer I know in the world, I think, at least in Europe, they've been at the stand, and they're excited like about the Nordic brands, but then they're excited about the Korean brands and all that comes together. So I don't know, we are really, as you can probably hear, but we are kind of on a completely different level now, and I'm so excited about everything.
That's terrific. That's terrific. I feel like I should let you get back to your very busy stand. This has been a very wonderful interview, Johanna. I appreciate your time. Really, really, I'm glad you could join me today on the CosmoFactory podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. If you find the CosmoFactory podcast useful, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review and share your thoughts so even more cosmetic industry professionals can discover the CosmoFactory. I'm Deanna Utrusky. Please join me again next Tuesday for a new episode of the CosmoFactory podcast.